Hey everybody, Betsy here with I Breathe I DIY. Thanks for joining me for another tutorial. Today we're making resin painted coaster gifts. I found some old coasters with a cork backing. I painted it white, and now I'm applying painter's tape to the back so that I can get all of the resin drips off when I'm done. You could use cutout pieces of masonite or cardboard if that's what you have too. After measuring out part A and part B separately, we mix them together into a medium-sized cup. We then pour the mixed resin into several smaller containers, giving it about a ½ inch or an inch each. Each of these smaller containers gets its own color. Now some of them I am adding the same color to, but that's because I'm going to mix another color or glitter into it. Stir each of these individually very well with their own stir stick, and then set them to the side. I found that I probably use about 6 different colors per coaster. You can definitely get away with just having a couple of colors, because as long as you get 2 colors that you can mix together to make a third color, you've automatically already got 3 colors. Now as you can see, I take my stir stick and sometimes a spoon, and I make designs with the resin. This definitely doesn't need to be perfect, and you can come back through and add more colors. Sometimes I do diagonal lines, sometimes I do circles, sometimes I do splotches or big blobs. You can see on this one how wonderfully the glitter shows. When I'm finished with one, I very carefully pick it up and move it out of the way so that it can cure, and then I'm ready to start another one. So as you can see, you just put some colors on there, try to cover the whole top, and then use your stir stick or your spoon and try to cover the edges. It will drip, and that's fine, but you just want to try to cover all of the surface. Sometimes I like to apply my metallics around the outside edge, and then it almost gives it a geode effect or a more stone-like quality. Here you can see what happens when I apply heat using my torch. It helps blend the colors together, and it creates effects that you can't create any other way. Let me show you a close-up of that there. I nearly forgot to add that I have set the coaster on top of an upside down small little cup to elevate it off the surface. That way the resin can drip down the sides and onto the table without the whole mess sticking together. Since we're making these coasters as gifts this year, I'm making a wide variety of colors and designs. I'm really having fun with it. There's no real wrong way to do it. You just want to try not to apply too much resin because it's just going to all run off. I hope you can see the depth and dimension that's created by using all the clear resins on top of the white and then adding pearlescence like the blue that I just added, and then some metallics. It really makes it pop by using all of these different mediums and all metals and things like that with the glitter, and it really gives them a great dimension once they're dried. I use the torch on them and they turn out a little differently, and then I can go through and put some finishing touches with some resin on there. Now as you can tell, I don't do the same thing twice, and I don't expect you to either. Now a couple of these I did try to make matching sets, so I used the same colors in the same patterns, and they all turned out a little bit differently. But you add the torch and you make those colors blend together and do the amazing effects that the resin does, and then you go through and you can add a little more color to it to try to tie them all in together. I made 10 or 12 of these this time, and it was really easy just to do them all at the same time. I mixed up the original batch of resin, and then I poured it into smaller cups, and I just used those on the project. I would say, all in all, I used 4 of the small little Dixie cup paper sized cups total in resin. So I used 2 of those per part, both A and B. And then I had all of my resins, dyes, and my pigments. I love what that red does there with the glitter in it. Now I just went to my local craft store and I bought regular large glitter. I didn't get fine glitter or extra fine glitter. That would look wonderful too, but I already had this. And the thing that I really like about this glitter is that once it is cured, you can see those glitter sparkles down on the bottom layers underneath the resin. And it seems like you can just look down into the coasters and they just go on and on. I'll be sure and make another tutorial of other things that you can find around the house to use to color the resin. What I'm using here are several different types of colors and pigments. My blue is the Cast and Craft translucent resin coloring. Now that's what all of the blues that I've used are, this dark blue and the light blue I keep applying. Now the light blue, I've actually added a pigment powder that's a pearlescent oxide that I got from a sculpting supply store. The silver metallic is also an oxide powder that I mixed into the clear resin. Now, as you can see, I even used resin that dripped on the table on these. Now, the red that I used was another liquid dye, and I added red glitter to it. Now, with this larger glitter, I like to put it into a similar color. I found that if I make it too contrasting, then it looks like I accidentally got the wrong color glitter in my project. Now, of course, I encourage you to be creative. Use contrasting colors. Use colors that stand out. Use things that you like. I'm not making these for myself. I'm trying to make them all kind of a little cohesive and things that many people would enjoy. I achieved this turquoise color by mixing a little bit of green resin with a blue pearlescent powder, and I got this wonderful turquoise color that bleeds in and really melds with the other translucent resins. All right, this one, I actually applied a little too much heat with the torch, and it raised the temperature of the resin and it kind of made it melt like a plastic spoon would do. And I just kind of went with it, even though it was making little volcanoes on it. This one's currently sitting in my studio, so I think it worked out okay. Here's some after photos so you can see all the wonderful designs that were made in the resin. I'm sure you can tell that I love working with resin. I'm glad that we were able to do this short tutorial today. I hope that you see some really basic ways of painting with resin and how as long as you're being creative, you really can't go wrong. I'll have more advanced techniques for resin painting on a future video. Thanks for joining me again on another I Breathe I DIY tutorial. I'm Betsy. I hope you go out and create something wonderful. We'd love to see what you do. Email us at ibreatheidiy@gmail.com.